In this video, I'm going to show you an advanced technique on how to edit and retouch skin in Photoshop. I'm also going to share with you my free action pack to help you work even faster. I remember back in 2015 when I decided to fully venture into portrait photography. I didn't want to have normal portraits similar to what was on the market. I wanted to have unique and creative portraits that would position me as the creative portrait guy on the market. However, I had a challenge. My retouching was not good enough. I wanted to learn that amazing magazine editorial style kind of retouching. I tried cherry picking retouching ideas here and there, but most of the tutors were making these concepts very hard to comprehend. Then one day I'm scrolling through YouTube and a close-up shot of a beautiful girl grabs my attention. Below the thumbnail was a title, The Power of Frequency Separation, on a channel called PH Land by Ntege. I did not even know what frequency separation was all about. This video introduced me to the concept. I went geeky about it and consequently learned simpler ways to execute and teach it. Today, I'm sharing this lesson with you, but even in a more simplified version, and also sharing my free action packs. Check the links in the description below and get them. Let's dive into this already. Now, this is the picture we're going to work with. This lady is called Esther. We're going to remove all these particular pimples, all these kind of wrinkles, and we are going to, of course, refine the texture and give the skin that kind of you're going to come and get this background layer and duplicate it twice. You duplicate it by, of course, dragging it here, one, and then you duplicate it again over there. So we are using the technique called frequency separation. Frequency separation, for those of you who don't know, is a technique that is used to when doing high-end beauty retouching. Basically what it does, it gives you that opportunity to separate textures from the tones, and this is what we're going to do right now. So this downer layer, we're going to name it tones, and we're going to name the upper layer textures. Right now we are going to first have to unsee this. Basically what we're going to do, we are going to steal textures from this bottom layer and move them all to the upper layer, and all the colors from this particular layer and move them to this lower layer, so that we have this picture divided in two different frequencies. We shall have the texture frequency and the color or tones frequency. Let us get into this. So you come here, let us unsee this, and then we have tones. Now this is where I need your maximum attention right here, because this is where most of you guys really mess up. I need your maximum attention here. And you come here into tones, you click onto the tonal layer, come into filter and say blur, you say Gaussian blur, and then we are first going to pull it back to 0. Now for every texture that you want to retain in your final image, you have to make sure it is blurred out in this particular layer. One more time, if I want to maintain the texture of all this fine skin here, I would have to blur it out in this particular layer, because if you don't do it right in this first layer, your final piece definitely won't come out right. That's why most of you, some people come out with pictures that look very flat, and that's not what we want. We want to have something that looks very beautiful. So we come and blur it out here until we see that the texture is not overly, that is, the texture is not visible anymore, just like that. You don't have to blur it out to a level that you lose the whole image. Of course, there you won't retain anything, you won't do anything. You want to keep it at a level where you still see that she's a human being, but again, you don't see the texture. Look at it like the texture is being, smoothed out. So you come and we shall keep it at 4.5. The image is not very big. Then we say okay. Then we come on to the upper layer here and we select it. So we come here and say image, apply image, Remember, we said we are going to steal texture from the tonal layer and put it right up there. So what are we going to do? We're just going to come here and subtract the texture like that, yeah, from the tonal layer by selecting tonal layer from here. You select tones. So you're going to put the scale at 2 and the offset at 128. These, just make sure your screen is like this, just the way it is. And then you say, okay. So your image is supposed to look something like this. If it has turned out black, just know you've not well put the 128 and 2 at the scale where it is supposed to be. So you have to go back and redo the whole process again. But don't worry about this whole step. I've given you actions that you can just apply, and all these things get into your image automatically. So we're going to come here and say linear light, like that. And then we come and I'll just put this in a group and just to show you guys how it is. So I'm going to name this frequency. So basically, here is the thing. This particular layer, this particular image at the top is similar to the bottom layer. The only difference between this image, this one here we see that is in this group, is that this layer, we have the frequencies separated. Yeah, let me just unsee this so that you see. Now we only have texture on this particular layer. This is just texture, you know. And then so we're going to come here into the bottom layer, and then we get our lasso tool. We shall put the feather here at around 18, and then we are going to begin blending the skin, just like, I don't want to remove the beauty spots, so I'll just go all around it, and then blur, you see, cushion blur. So we're going to begin blurring out the skin tones until we see them really getting, you know, that precision. You still come here next to this. You now press Ctrl F on your keyboard to repeat the similar effect. You don't have to do it really in a way that the frequency goes overboard. All we want is just to give her skin tones that are really matching. Just like that. Come on the forehead area. Still do the same. Just like that. Come on the bottom neck area. Do the same. Just like you see all these. Basically, it is a very, very simple process, but I don't know why most tutors on YouTube tend to make the process really seem so hard, yet it is this simple. So, oops, sorry, I'll just come and feather this just a little bit at a lower feather so that I can have the selection done. Ctrl F again, I'll put it back at 18. Since it was a small area, I just had to reduce the feather. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to work now on the textures. Now, most of the textures here are not very visible because this is quite a high key kind of image. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a black and white help layer right on top to help us expose all the blemishes that we want to remove. Yeah, so you come here, down here, you say black and white, and then what we do, we crush the reds, we darken the reds. When you darken the reds, what happens? All the textures we want to remove would get right on top, because this is a soft lit image, so it is very, very hard for us to see the textures really. And this is another tip when you're doing such portraits and you're not very good at retouching. My advice to you is to shoot under soft light, because when you shoot under soft light, most of the blemishes are usually lost with the lighting. The lighting somehow softens the skin even more, in that the pimples are not overly exposed. Or alternatively, you can work with a makeup artist to help you with this. So we're going to come, we are not using the black and white layer, obviously, it's only our help layer. So you come here and select textures, and then you use our spot healing brush. The spot healing, and then we shall make sure the brush is hard, and we shall just come and pick out all these. The spot healing brush is very good for removing such small tiny pimples, And I'm not using any fancy equipment. Basically, I'm editing all this using a mouse and keyboard. So basically, I'm just only picking out the pimples, and there is nothing really complex. And oops, I didn't want to remove her birthmark, so let me just remove the black and white layer so that I see what I'm doing. At the end of the day, you don't want to remove everything really. You just want to remove those imperfections that are really not permanent. Avoid removing birthmarks from people, things that identify them. It's only right to remove temporary blemishes that you won't find on their faces the next day when you meet them. But those that seem permanent, always seek their opinion before you decide to remove them. I usually leave such beauty spots in the portrait. All I do is just remove these temporary pimples and the like. In my other videos, I explain how to really remove such small wrinkles in the face, because you don't want to remove everything in a way that she turns out to look flat, like she has no texture. I'm not going to go into so much details doing this. You guys get the point. Yeah, now when you look at this image, we have really done our best to refine it. And let's just look at the before and after. That's the before, and that is the after. Before and after. When you look at it, we've not actually flattened it like what I see people doing on YouTube, flattening images and flattening them out. The whole magic comes in the first frequency you apply onto the image. That is where most of the magic is. So make sure when you're applying the first top frequency, you do it really, really, really well. So in the next thing, I'm just going to show you how to apply the actions. There are some action packs actually in the link right below that are going to help you do this process super fast. I also provide you with some of my color LUTs that I use in most of my images. Like if you've been to my Instagram page, I'm giving you the actual color LUTs that I use for my images. So what you're going to do, you're just going to come to Windows if you don't see the action panel and click at actions. So this thing will load up. So what you're going to do, you will come here at this button with, of course, actions selected, and you say load actions. Yeah. Then, oh, sorry, we didn't extract the actions. Let me first go back on the desktop. Yeah. Now, after downloading the actions, definitely you're going to you find them in a folder like this. There's a zipped folder. You're supposed to have WinRAR installed on your computer, because I zipped them just in case you have viruses on your computer or the like. So you just come right click and then you say extract files. Right there. So you open this folder and this is the action pack. It's not really a big file. It's just a small file. So you will come here in actions, you say load actions, wherever you would have put the actions. Mine at the desktop in the folder called actions. So I'll just come here and double click at this and the actions will load. So you're going to get this folder in your action pack called dynamic beauty actions. Basically, some actions may not work. For example, like the glamour colors outdoor, those ones you will need Nik software for them to work, because I set those up for outdoor portraits. But you have all these. You have vibrancy, you have the color correction, you have the eye whitener, the quick fix, beauty, frequency, ban and dodge. I give you a frequency you can use on 50 megapixel camera. I also give you beauty frequency you can use on a 24 megapixel camera. Basically, I've given you all my action packs that I use for most of my portraits. You guys, I just want you to have fun, and I can't wait to see you at the top. If you've learned something in this video, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notification for more portrait tips and tricks. I love you so much. My name is Ntege. I sign out, and adios.